Pam Bondi caught moments may make headlines, but what happened in this exchange left people leaning forward trying to catch every word. It started with a simple yes or no question. That's it. A question that anyone in a position of power should be able to answer without hesitation.
What's key? What's a setter dude? What's a setter dude?
Did the FBI director fire people because of politics? Not rumors. Not speculation. Just a direct accountability test. And instead of a clear answer, viewers got an evasive dance that raised even more questions. Imagine sitting in the hot seat being pressed again and again, and each time choosing not to take the straightforward route.
Protected against political retribution. So you're testifying today that you played no role in the firing of even a single FBI agent for political retribution.
None for political retribution.
And if any FBI agent said you did, they would be lying. Is that your testimony?
I'm only speaking to my actions. Everybody is allowed to make their allegations.
Oh, no, these are allegations against you.
And
so, Mr. Patel, if FBI, senior FBI agents or employees said that you were firing them for political retribution reasons because of the cases they were assigned, you're saying they would be lying. Is that
anyone that was terminated at the FBI was done so for failing to meet the standards, uphold their constitutional oath, and effectuate the mission.
Well, by meet the standards, are you talking about meet the standards of protecting the president under any circumstance?
No.
You also guaranteed Senator Blumenthal that every FBI employee will be held to the same, absolute same standard. No one will be terminated for case assignments. Are you testifying today that you never terminated anyone at the FBI, in whole or in part, because of a prior case assignment?
No one at the FBI is terminated for case assignments alone.
Well, I'm asking about you, Mr. Patel. Did you, in whole or in part, terminate anyone at the FBI because they worked on the Trump investigation or because they worked on January 6th?
No one at the FBI has been terminated for case assignments alone.
Okay, you're saying alone. Does that mean they were terminated in part because they were assigned to a January 6th case or assigned to the Mar-a-Lago case? You're being very precise here, Mr. Patel. You're saying alone. That means they were fired in part because they were assigned those cases. Is that your testimony?
Absolutely not. But if you want to keep putting words
in
in my mouth,
then let me ask you, let's strip away the word alone. Did you terminate or participate in any discipline of any FBI employee in whole or in part because of their work on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th? Yes or no?
Any terminations at the FBI by employees.
No, I'm asking you a very specific question.
And I'm going to answer the question, but you don't like the answer because it's the truth and it guts your narrative.
I want an answer to my question. I don't want an answer to someone else's question. So let me just be precise, and I asked for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
FBI employees are only terminated if they fail to uphold their oaths of office and duty.
You're not answering my question.
I don't have to answer your question yes or no because you're setting up a trap so you can have a media narrative.
I'm not setting up a trap.
And I'm not giving it to you.
Unless it's true that you fired people.
People have been terminated at the FBI who failed to uphold the standards that the FBI requires them to uphold.
Did you tell anyone at the FBI that all FBI employees who they identified who had worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs? Did you tell that to someone at the FBI?
Say that I would remove people for case assignments?
That people that were identified as having worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs. Did you tell that to someone at the FBI?
People are not removed for
just
case
answer my
assignments.
Question. Just answer my question. Did you tell that to someone?
People are not removed for case
No,
assignments.
you're not answering my question.
And I would
Mr.
never
Patel,
tell anyone.
Did you tell someone at the FBI that FBI employees identified as having worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs? Yes or no? Did you tell someone that?
I would never tell anyone at the FBI that they're being removed for basically their case assignments.
Okay, so anyone who said that would be lying. Is that your testimony?
Anyone can say whatever they want.
No, I know, but you're saying they were a liar.
I'm telling you what I said.
Because this is in the complaint against you, Mr. Patel. So you're saying Mr. Driscoll and others are liars?
I'm not going to address the complaint in the ongoing
Okay, well then
litigation.
let me ask you, have you ever told anyone at the FBI that the FBI tried to put the president in jail and he hasn't forgotten it, and that your job depended on the removal of agents who worked on cases against the president?
No.
Did you ever tell anyone that?
No.
Okay. Did you ever tell anyone that you knew these summary firings you were undertaking were illegal, likely illegal, and that you would be sued and later deposed? Did you ever tell anyone that?
No firings at the FBI or terminations were done for anything other than justified
Did you ever
cause.
tell anyone that, Mr.
No,
Patel? Why don't you
no
answer my question?
terminations at the FBI were ever done in my tenure for anything other than failing
Did you
to
ever tell
uphold
anyone
their
that,
oath of
Mr. Patel? You
office
willing to
or
answer the
their-
question?
The FBI.
I guess
I
you're not
have
willing to
answered
answer the
it.
question. So let me move on. Let me
Repeatedly.
move on to the Epstein files. You said you're the most transparent FBI director in history, so I'm going to put you to the test. In 2024, you were asked by Glenn Beck about Epstein's Black Book. And you said, he asked, who has Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book? And you said, Black Book, FBI. And he said, but who? That is, I mean theirs. And you said, oh, that's under the direct control of the director of the FBI. That's what you said. Was that true, Mr. Patel?
I'll rely on you quoting it accurately. I did that a couple
Was
of
it
years
true
ago.
what you represented to Mr. Beck and the president's supporters out there, or were you lying?
No.
Was it true that the Black Book, Epstein's Black Book, was in the possession of the FBI director?
The Black Book was in the possession of the FBI.
Okay, so now that you're the FBI director, you have possession of the Black Book, right?
That index has been released.
So you have Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book?
What is known as Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book has been released by us.
And you released it. And let me follow up on Senator Kennedy's question, because he asked you, and I'll be very precise here. You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself? And you said, himself. There's no credible information, none. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And Kennedy, the information we have, again, is limited. And Senator Kennedy said, the answer is no one. And you said, for the information we have. So is it your testimony today that in all the Epstein files, that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked no one to anyone but himself? Is that your testimony, Mr.
I never
Patel?
said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic anyone else.
Did he traffic any young woman to someone other than himself? That was Mr. Kennedy's question,
And I
Senator Kennedy's
said
question.
the information that 3 administrations have had access to
I'm
have
asking
made
you-
determinations that there are no investigative leads that were credible to prosecute and investigate any others. I'm
Well,
specifically
I'm asking
stating
you whether
we
it's
were
your
working on.
testimony today.
Well, you just read
that
it, and I said it 10 minutes ago, so let the record reflect my
I
testimony.
just want to make sure there's no misunderstanding, because there are victims like Virginia Guifer who have testified otherwise, who have said otherwise, and you're telling the American people today that the Epstein list is a single name and it's Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we're to believe?
That's not what I'm saying. That's what you're saying, and
Well,
you can say whatever you
Let
want.
me ask you this. When Todd Blanche went to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, she said, but did I think these guys were coming for that? I really don't. If you met Epstein, there's no way that this cast of characters, of which it's extraordinary, and some are in your cabinet, who you value as your co-workers, and you know would be with him if he was a creep or because they wanted sexual favors. A man wants sexual favors, he will find that. They didn't have to come to Epstein for that. And the next question Todd Blanche, the president's former criminal defense lawyer, asked is not who in the cabinet, who are you referring to? His question is, so when's the last time you think you were with Mr. Epstein when he got a massage? So let me ask you, who are those cabinet members that Ghislaine Maxwell was referring to that, that were part of this cast of characters associated with Mr. Epstein? Who are they?
The Deputy Attorney General took the aggressive step that no one else did and interviewed Miss Maxwell for
I'm
2
asking you,
days,
who are
and
the
we
ca-
released
who are
the
the cabinet
entirety
members?
of that
Who are the
transcript.
cabinet members?
I do not have that transcript in front of me. You're picking it piecemeal. The American public can read the entirety of
Let me ask
that.
you one last question, because you clearly won't tell us the cabinet members associated with Mr. Epstein. Let me ask you one last question. And that is, right after she gives this testimony in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
Prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of
you're not in
inmates.
the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of the California. We are bringing historic reform.
Point of order.
But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most
control of this
transparent
situation.
FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Both of you be quiet.
That's exactly what happened here, and it matters far more than a viral clip. This is about whether law enforcement stays neutral or becomes a weapon in partisan battles. The questioning opened like a trapdoor. Did you in whole or in part terminate anyone at the FBI because they worked on an investigation tied to the former president or January 6th? Simple, straightforward. But the answer was carefully couched. No one had ever been terminated for case assignments alone. That single word alone shifted the entire conversation, because if you need to add that qualifier, what does it suggest? The lawmaker immediately pounced on it. Alone. So maybe they were fired in part because of those cases. Maybe other reasons were tacked on, but wasn't the political casework still part of the story? Suddenly what should have been a clean denial started sounding like a layered-up dodge. That back and forth played out in real time. Each time the director leaned on that word, alone, the senator came back harder. Did you fire them in part? Was this about case assignments? Was this political payback disguised as poor performance? The evasions grew tighter, and the audience could feel it. Something was being avoided. This wasn't just political theater, it was a test of credibility. Because if you've promised to run a neutral FBI to protect agents from retaliation, why can't you just say no, without caveats? Why hedge when the public needs clarity? It wasn't the first time those promises were on the table. During the confirmation hearing, Patel assured Senators Coons and Blumenthal that no political retribution would ever occur under his watch, that every FBI employee would be held to the same standards, that no one would lose their job because of the cases they worked. Those commitments weren't vague, they were direct, made in front of the Senate, meant to reassure a wary nation. Fast forward to this hearing, and those same senators and others wanted to know, were those promises kept? And the answers they got were anything but direct. The tension in the room kept building. Schiff wanted just one thing, accountability in the simplest form. Yes or no, not explanations, not long-winded justifications, just clarity. Because law enforcement isn't supposed to play favorites. Agents shouldn't fear for their jobs because they worked on an unpopular case. If that principle cracks, trust in the entire system collapses. That's why a single yes or no mattered so much. And the refusal to give it became louder than any shouted accusation. When Patel kept circling back to phrases like people are only terminated for failing to uphold their oath, or no one was removed for case assignments alone, It gave the impression of a carefully rehearsed line, legally safe perhaps, politically cautious, definitely. But clarity? None. The audience didn't need a slogan, they needed assurance. Instead what they got was language that avoided locking him down, avoided perjury, but also avoided trust. And in that avoidance the suspicion grew. If it really were a clean record, why not just say it? Think about why this matters. Federal law enforcement isn't just another agency, its credibility is its currency. If the perception takes hold that agents can be sidelined or fired because they probed the wrong politician, every future investigation becomes suspect. Imagine a young agent deciding whether to push forward on a sensitive lead. If they think their career might be destroyed for doing their job, what choice do they make? Some will step back, some will self-censor, some will quietly leave, and in that chilling effect, corruption thrives. That's why the line of questioning hit so hard. It wasn't about one firing or one director, it was about the future of impartial justice. There are legal structures meant to prevent this. Whistleblower protections, merit system rules, inspector general oversight. But laws and rules only matter if leaders follow them, and if oversight enforces them. Schiff made it clear this wasn't about theater. It was about whether those protections still function. Because if terminations are happening behind closed doors, justified under vague failure to uphold standards, language the only way to uncover the truth is through oversight tools, subpoenas, depositions, document reviews. Without transparency, slogans about neutrality ring hollow. And then comes the human cost. These aren't faceless bureaucrats. They're agents who risk their lives. They're investigators who dive into extremist threats, organized crime, cyber warfare. If they start to believe they'll be punished for touching politically sensitive cases, they hesitate. Victims waiting for justice wait longer. Communities facing violent crime lose trust. The chilling effect isn't abstract, it lands on real families, real neighborhoods, real threats. That's why this mattered more than a sparring match on Capitol Hill. It cut to the core of whether justice can function without fear. Schiff's persistence revealed something else too. His approach wasn't about scoring a viral gotcha. He didn't need a dramatic outburst.
He needed clarity.
By stripping the question down to its bones, yes or no, he forced viewers to see the evasions for what they were. Each repetition made the gap clearer. Each refusal made the absence of a straight answer louder. And that in itself became the story. It's not just what was said, it's what wasn't. Where does that leave things? Likely in the hands of inspectors general, oversight committees, and perhaps whistleblowers willing to come forward. Congress has tools, but they're only as effective as the will to use them. Classified reviews can be arranged. Personnel files can be subpoenaed. Court orders can be challenged when the public interest is strong enough. The law doesn't give blanket shields to hide misconduct. But all of that depends on persistence, and hearings like this are how persistence begins. This hearing also spotlighted the double-bind director's face. Speak too openly, and you expose the Bureau to lawsuits or admissions that spark political firestorms. Stay too evasive, and you erode trust. Patel leaned hard toward caution, but in doing so, fed the very perception he hoped to avoid. It's a classic Washington dilemma. The safest legal answer often looks like the least trustworthy political one. And in oversight, optics matter almost as much as facts. The larger truth is this: accountability doesn't stop at the slogan. Saying no one was fired for case assignments alone doesn't answer the question. It leaves the door wide open. Oversight isn't satisfied by half phrases. It demands documentation, clear standards, timelines, and independent review. Anything less isn't oversight, it's performance. And Schiff, to his credit, didn't let the dance go unnoticed. For the viewers watching, this wasn't just another partisan clash. It was a window into whether one of the nation's most powerful institutions still belongs to the people, or to politics. And that's why so many found themselves leaning in, waiting for that simple word, yes or no, that never came. Because in the silence of that missing answer lies the bigger question: can justice survive hedging? So where does this go next? Some are calling for an inspector general review. Others want Congress to demand classified briefings with the names, dates, and reasons for terminations. Whistleblowers could come forward. Lawsuits could surface more documents. None of that is quick, and none of it guarantees answers. But what's clear is this: the hearing put the issue on record. It drew the line, and now it's up to oversight to cross it. At the end of the day, the exchange showed two things. One lawmaker did exactly what oversight is supposed to do, test the promises of accountability. And one director chose caution over clarity, leaving voters with more questions than answers. That gap isn't a headline, it's a problem. Because if trust in justice breaks, rebuilding it takes decades. And that's a cost no society can afford. So here's the question for you: did Patel dodge accountability, or was he playing by legal constraints? Should Congress push for a full Inspector General review? Should whistleblowers be protected to come forward? Drop your thoughts below. I read every single one because this channel isn't just about headlines, it's about digging into the truth behind them. And if you want to keep following these hearings, these legal battles, and these deep dives that explain the mechanics behind the headlines, make sure you like this video, subscribe and hit the bell. That way we can keep breaking it down together.